back here on the scoreboard. It's Tuesday, September 19th. Just got off of Monday Night Football. Did you miss me? Yesterday, no show. We heard the pregame for the Panthers. And, well, that was probably the most exciting part of the night. But we'll get into that. Panthers falling to 0-2 to start the year. We'll get into that. We will. But as always, thank you for listening here on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM, and streaming video to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, our website, WSICnews.com, pretty much anywhere you want to get it. Like I always say, we are worldwide. And if you want to be a part of the show, you can do that. Just call in. 704-873-1400. A lot going on in the world of sports as we had the day off from the show yesterday. We have an entire weekend worth of games to talk about, including college football and high school football and obviously professional football. Plus, NASCAR was at Bristol last weekend. We had some drivers eliminated from the playoffs. We head to Texas for the next round as we go to Texas, Talladega, and they'll come back here into the area for the Charlotte Roval and the elimination race of round number 2. And we have MLB news. I'm going to start with the MLB today because we've been kind of giving it the back burner treatment. Like I said, it happens. It happens with baseball all the time. Unfortunately, the way their season lines up, football just ends up taking over. And one of the best times in baseball is shadowed by the fact that the NFL is back because we're at the end of the season here. We are very close to playoff baseball, and we'll see how it shakes down here. Baltimore, after that series with Tampa Bay, they still hold a 2.5-game lead in the AL East. Houston holds a 1.5-game lead over Seattle and Texas, and it looks like Milwaukee's going to run away with the NL Central, 6 games ahead of the Cubs and of the Reds. Those are the only ones that we've been keeping an eye on, really, to see who could come back and win divisions. Other than that, I mean, Minnesota's going to win the Central. We know Atlanta's already clinched. The Dodgers have already clinched. Those are really the only ones where we looked at it and said, hey, maybe somebody can make a run here and make it semi-competitive for the division, but unfortunately not going to happen. But as we look into the wild card here in baseball, it is tightening up. Now, Seattle and Texas are currently tied. Not only are they a 1.5 games behind Houston for the division, but they're currently tied 82-68 for the final spot in the wild card. So, like I've been saying for the past 2-3 weeks here now, it is going to come down to the last day of the season before we know who is in and who is out of the playoffs. And as you look at the National League, it doesn't get any more clear of a picture. The Cubs are in. They have the same winning percentage as the Reds, who are currently out, but the Cubs have played 2 less games. Now, the Cubs are in trouble. They have lost their last 5 games, and they're sitting at 2-8 in their last 10. Not the time to start sliding down the standings. As we look at it, we're talking about 2 more weeks in the season. That's not a lot of time to make a run and do something. We got this week, 3 weeks. Let's call it 3.5 weeks or so left in the NFL season. In the MLB season. The NFL season just started. But that's not enough time for you to go on a backslide and then make it up. You have to stay hot. I always say it. This is the time where you want to be hot, not only because you don't want to lose your position in the standings, but you want to have momentum going into the playoffs. And we talk about momentum all the time. Teams that have momentum just do better in the playoffs. And it's time and time again we've seen it. We've seen teams back their way into the playoffs and lose. We've seen teams with incredible records. Look at the Boston Bruins last year. Best regular season of all time. They were never really in playoff mode. They run into the Florida Panthers in round one, who had been in playoff mode for a month, and they lose. The hotter team wins. Usually happens in playoffs, whether it's football, baseball, hockey, soccer, basketball. I don't care. Momentum is king. And we see evidence of that time and time again. So Cincinnati, the first team out of the wild card. Then it's Miami, a half game back. San Francisco, 2 games back. And San Diego on a 5-game win streak, cutting it to 5.5 games back of the wild card. Still enough time. They're not technically eliminated, but it's going to be nearly impossible for them to do this. The Yankees and the Red Sox, as we talk about back in the American League here, they are 6 and 7.5 games back. Same deal. It's going to be really, really impossible for them to make this comeback and get into the playoffs. Is it impossible? No. There's enough games left in the season. Is it likely? Not even remotely. So the Yankees and the Red Sox look like they're finally going to be bowing out. And that'll leave the final wild card spot down to Seattle, Texas, Toronto, and Houston, depending on whether or not they start to slip a little bit. I mean, they've looked pretty good here recently, hovering right around 500 baseball, which is okay for now because their division hasn't been the strongest. I mean, when you look at the Texas Rangers, they lost 4 in a row over the weekend. So not the best stretch at all. And that's how it's boiling down. These teams are starting to not only, in the NL, it's one thing. In the NL, we've been talking about how mediocre these teams have been over the past few weeks, sticking at 500 baseball for pretty much the entire season. They're not 10 games over or 10 games under 500. Everybody's real crowded in there. In the American League, it seems like it's who gets hot. You know, we've seen Seattle win 7 in a row. We've seen Houston win 9 of 10. We've seen teams lose 7 in a row. Right now, we're looking at Texas losing 4 in a row. That's what it's been in the American League. And it's 2 completely different playoff races. But we'll see how they turn out. We got one more thing with the MLB that we'll talk about when we return, and then we're going to move on to NASCAR. And we'll probably talk about the NFL for 2 solid segments here later in the show because there is a lot to talk about. So stay tuned here on the Scoreboard, WSIC. We'll be back right after this.
Whatever the story,
we have to end our dependence on China.
Have your say.
This debt crisis is going to set our economy back big time.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Stuart Owen Dance, the resident dance company of Asheville's Wortham Center for the Performing Arts, is performing at Kane Center for the Arts in Cornelius this Saturday. Want to learn more about Stuart Owen Dance before the event? Listen and watch Justin Dione, Executive Director of Kane Center for the Arts, during his show, Know the Scene, on Tuesday or on demand anytime. Just visit WSICnews.com and click on radio shows to find Know the Scene. Stuart Owen Dance, this Saturday, kanearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. The sesquicentennial celebration for the town of Huntersville is here this Saturday from 2 until 8 p.m. at Huntersville Athletic Park. Come celebrate Huntersville's 150th birthday, Saturday, September 23rd. For more info, visit huntersville.org. The All-American Dog Show is back in Cornelius, Sunday, October 1st, 2 until 5 p.m. Your furry friends are also welcome to attend. You can even enter them into the contests. Be sure to come by the WSIC tent at the All-American Dog Show happening at Robbins Park in Cornelius, Sunday, October 1st. For more info, visit cornelius.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back! Saturdays and Sundays, September 30th through November 19th. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
And now a look at your weather update from the WSIC Weather Center. As you head into the evening, it's going to be a mostly clear night, an overnight low heading down to 57. And looking into Wednesday morning, mostly sunny skies through the day, afternoon high reaching 80 degrees. This is your weather update from the WSIC Weather Center.
Grow in your faith with biblical teaching from the Word of God. Listen to Pastor Steve Pope from Calvary Baptist Church, Sunday mornings at 9 here on News Talk WSIC, or listen on demand at WSICnews.com.
Thought-provoking conversations and informed perspectives.
It's meant for everyday people to understand, and you don't have to stress about technical terms and stuff. They just say it like a real person.
WSIC News Talk Now. Whatever the story,
We have to end our dependence on China.
have your say.
This debt crisis is going to set our economy back big time.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
All right, welcome back to the Scoreboard here on WSIC 704-873-1400. That's the phone number if you'd like to call in, chat about something, question, comment, concern, angry, happy, embarrassed to be a Panther fan. Whatever you have in store for me, give me a call. We'll talk about it. We were talking about MLB before we went to break, updating everybody on the playoff races that are going on. Two more things I want to touch on real quick going on in the MLB. Just some important-ish series going on. You have the Blue Jays and the Yankees playing. That one important for the AL wild card. The Mets and the Marlins. Marlins really needing to continue their winning ways. The Orioles and the Astros, good series, two playoff teams. See how that one goes. Not really too important, but it does still hold a lot of weight in terms of seeding. Both of these teams should make the playoffs, but, you know, winning more games and getting higher in the seedings can never hurt. Just a couple of games to keep an eye on as we get closer to the end of the season here. The other thing I wanted to talk about is my least favorite topic currently. It is the issue of the LA Angels and their star player, Shohei Ohtani. Angel star Shohei Ohtani had elbow surgery Tuesday, and his doctor said he expects the two-way star will be available as a hitter on opening day next season and will return to the mound in 2025. There's a lot to process with this. There really is, because Ohtani got hurt playing for a team that wasn't going to make the playoffs, pretty much done. And it's an elbow issue. He's already had an issue with that elbow. He did receive Tommy John surgery already. Now, they don't specify what kind of surgery he had. They just said he had elbow surgery. So, could be something different, but we don't really have the details on that. Now, this affects the free agent market a ton because now that you know Ohtani's not going to be a hitter and a pitcher for you right away, how much money did he lose from this injury? And there's no guarantee that when he comes back from this injury that he's going to be the same player he was this year and last year and years prior. Now, is it possible for him to regain the dominance? Absolutely, and I wouldn't put it past him. But these owners and these GMs are going to look at this and say, this is a little bit of a liability. Are we sure we're going to give $600-700 million to a player who continuously gets injured? Now, he plays a lot. That's why he gets hurt, because he's not only pitching, but he's hitting, and he's phenomenal at both. But does he make $100 million less? Do teams hesitate to give him that long-term contract? Maybe we see a one-year deal to stay in LA and just hit, and then when he's back to being a two-way star, then hit free agency and see what kind of money you can get. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there. But I thought that was pretty significant news, especially considering how much we've been talking about the Angels and Shohei Ohtani and all the issues that they've been having. So we're going to move on now from baseball. We're going to go over to the world of NASCAR. Yes, the wonderful, wild world of NASCAR. We had 4 drivers eliminated on Saturday night from Bristol, and, it was great that they got the race in. It was a little touch and go at the beginning, but they did get all 500 laps done, and taking the win was Denny Hamlin. Pretty dominant towards the end of that race. There really wasn't a question about it. And eliminated from the playoffs were Kevin Harvick in his final season as a full-time NASCAR driver, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Michael McDowell, and defending series champion Joey Logano. Since NASCAR has been doing the playoffs, no former champion has ever been eliminated from the first round of the playoffs. Well, that happened to Joey Logano, caught up in somebody else's accident. He wasn't having a good day to begin with, running mid-20s. A lot of the playoff drivers were having bad days. I mean, Harvick was 5 laps down at some point. Chastain really never showed his face anywhere. Bubba held on. Blaney was having issues. There were problems to be had all around by most of those drivers out there. Now, moving on to the next round, I'm going to make my my predictions early here for who gets eliminated in this round. I'm going to say Bubba Wallace is no longer going to be with us after this round. Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain, and Christopher Bell. Those are the drivers that I think are going to get eliminated in this round. And what a wild round we have in store. Texas, Talladega, and Charlotte. Mile and a half track, super speedway track, road course. That's pretty diverse. And one of the craziest rounds in the playoffs, if you ask me, highlighted by the ultimate wild card playoff race, Talladega. I don't know if we still like Talladega being in the playoffs. I think it would be cooler if it was an elimination race. I mean, hey, you got Daytona as the last one to get into the playoffs. You might as well add some more drama to another elimination and make it the elimination race. I think it used to be at one point. And then they had that issue with Kevin Harvick with his restarts and wrecking the field. It was a whole thing. But nonetheless, Talladega being the wild card. Let's go back real quick, though, and look at Bristol and what happened. We had a pretty uneventful race, except for the incident that ended up taking Joey Logano out of the playoffs, and you can see it right away. He was driving down pit road, and that left rear tire, it was not facing the correct way. It did not look like a toe link was broken. It looked like some serious damage. So he ended up getting eliminated, and it was still close. I mean, he had accumulated just enough points and staying out at the end of Kansas last week to gain a few more points. Like, it was close. If any of those playoff drivers on the cut line would have blown a tire or something like that during the long green flag runs that we were having, Logano may have found a way to backdoor his way into the next round, but it wasn't meant to be. Former champion, the defending series champion, eliminated from the first round, and it was a good race. I mean, it was an okay race all around. I don't think that that Bristol is going to lose its spot anytime soon in the playoffs. And I think we can all celebrate and be glad that Bristol has lost its dirt track. When we go there in the spring again, it will be a paved race. I mean, Bristol deserves to be paved. It was a good race. You always talk about with this newish style of Bristol racing, and I mean, it's been this way for a good amount of time now. It's no longer just ride the bottom and hope you don't get stuck on the outside. No, it's a multi-groove racetrack. And they do have to put that PJ1 down still to make sure that the inside is competitive, which they really messed up at one point. They had to grind down the top line a little more because the top was just so dominant. But it was okay. I mean, you could compete on the bottom. We saw drivers when they were in clean air on restarts, or if they had like a few car lengths to the next lap car, they'd immediately go back down to the bottom. And then when they get in traffic, try and pass on the high side. So the bottom was competitive. It was just really hard to complete a pass. And I thought it was a really good race, you know. All in all, you know, the drama could have been a little bit better at the end with Hamlin just running away with it. But as we look forward, like I said, we have some eliminations here. And let's take a look, see who starts underneath the cut line as we head to Texas. So you got Bubba Wallace, who's 14 points out, Ryan Blaney, 6 points out, Brad Keselowski and Ross Chastain, both 3 points out of the playoffs. And that's how they'll line up when they go to Texas. We will be previewing Texas throughout the week here, so make sure you tune in. We will talk about that and get you prepared for the round of 12. We're going to head to break now, though. This is the Scoreboard with your host, Joe Berg. That's me on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We will be back right after this.
Be a part of the conversation.
I listen on the way to work.
Have your say.
It's more than just opinions, it's facts.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Older adults and those with chronic health conditions can build strength, improve balance, and gain confidence in their mobility through the Statesville Family YMCA's Moving for Better Balance program. This is a 12-week virtual program that takes place Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 10 a.m. starting October 10th and running through January 11th. For more details, visit ymcanwnc.org.
And now a look at your weather update from the WSIC Weather Center. As you head into the evening, it's going to be a mostly clear night, an overnight low heading down to 57. And looking into Wednesday morning, mostly sunny skies through the day, afternoon high reaching 80 degrees. This is your weather update from the WSIC Weather Center.
It's back, and it's better than ever. The WSIC Community Yard Sale. Sell your stuff October 28th as we bring back the legendary Community Yard Sale. Visit WSICnews.com/yard sale. Get your spot today.
In life, we plan for many important things. Weddings, our children's education, retirement. A celebration of life is really no different. Planning and paying for your life celebration in advance will give you and your family valuable peace of mind. We'll help you take care of every detail with professionalism and compassion. We're Lynn Honeycutt Funeral Home. Find us at dignitymemorial.com.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-989-1754. 800-989-1754. 800-989-1754. That's 800-989-1754. Paid for by Term Direct.
Hi folks, Pat Shannon inviting you to join me for the Home Ad Show. We help you sell things, buy things, celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, and have a lot of fun in the process. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11 here on News Talk WSIC.
The Panthers lose a game and their leader. I'm Anish Shroff with this Panthers update.
As the official ticket marketplace of the Carolina Panthers and the NFL, Ticketmaster has a wide selection of tickets available for every game. Whether you're cheering on the Panthers at home or away, Ticketmaster has you covered. With Ticketmaster's interactive seat map, you'll get a 360-degree preview of your seat so you can make sure you have the best view of those pivotal plays. Plus, the Ticketmaster app makes it easy to sell or transfer tickets if your plans change, and mobile tickets make getting in on game day a breeze. Find tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Panthers.
Carolina fell on Monday Night Football to New Orleans 20-17, and in the first half, middle linebacker Shaq Thompson was carted off the field with an ankle injury. Panthers head coach Frank Reich.
You know, losing Shaq hurts, but and losing him just personally, like he's such a great leader and great player. You know, that hurts us personally. We hate to see our brother, you know, have to miss time. But we also have to push forward. It has to be next man up mentality. He knows that. We all know that. And listen, this hurt, and we're sitting in there talking, and you know, Justin Houston said it well. He's like, guys, hey, this is life, right? It doesn't always go like you want it to go. What are we going to do about it? Just everybody look at the film. We're not as far away as we think. Just everybody get better and fight through this. It's a long season, believe me. We want to make you guys proud. We want to make these fans proud. I believe our guys are going to respond well.
Kamu Grugier-Hill stepped up in Thompson's stead. He finished with 6 tackles and a sack. Here's the snap. Here's the blitz. Carr steps up. He's hit and dropped. Kamu Grugier-Hill, who stepped in for the injured Shaq Thompson, gets his first sack. Panthers back at it Sunday. They're on the road to face the Seahawks. I'm Anish Shroff on the Carolina Panthers Radio Network, brought to you by Morris Jenkins.
If you have an upcoming event, let WSIC spread the word. Go to WSICnews.com and click on the Community Calendar button. WSIC, proud to be part of your community.
All right, welcome back to the Scoreboard here on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM, 704-873-1400. That is the phone number if you would like to call in. We are going to talk about the NFL here this segment, and we're going to start out with some bad news. some really bad news from Monday night's football game between the Panthers and the Saints. Here it is from ESPN's David Newton, who covers the Panthers. Carolina Panthers linebacker Shaq Thompson is expected to miss the remainder of the season after undergoing surgery Tuesday morning to repair a broken fibula. That is a massive, massive loss for a defense and, frankly, for a team who needs everybody that they can keep healthy on this field, because that is not a good team that they're putting out there right now. And I may have drastically overrated how this roster would perform. I wouldn't go as far to say as the Panthers got embarrassed on Monday Night Football, but they definitely didn't do anything to make people think that they would be a legitimate team this year. Now, granted, the final score didn't look all that bad. 2017, a 3-point game. They had a chance at the end with the onside kick. But when you look at the underlying stats in this game, it was not pretty. Bryce Young, 22 for 33, only 153 yards. That is pretty bad efficiency. The one touchdown at the end, which, the Saints had given up it by then. They knew they needed to recover an onside kick, which has like a 1% success rate at this point. And the Saints just let them slowly march downfield and score a touchdown. Okay, good morale boost. But it was an ugly game for the Panthers. And nothing they did seemed to work. They had less total yards, obviously passing and rushing yards. They lost a fumble. At least they got the interception. 4 sacks. Terrible third down efficiency, outpossessed, and 6 penalties on the game. At no point did I think Carolina was going to win that game. From the opening kickoff to the final whistle, the Panthers looked like the worst team. And we knew that there were going to be growing pains throughout the season here. We have a rookie quarterback, number 1 overall pick, Alabama quarterback, so you already know how I feel about that. Now, there's one Alabama quarterback proving that wrong, but we'll get to that. But the Panthers, we knew they were big growing pains. We knew this was a possibility. You would just think that a team that, won 7-8 games last year could at least match that, but as I talked about last week, 0-2 now, going into these next 4 games. When you look at the Panthers' schedule, they got to go to Seattle next week. And Seattle, they seem to have gotten their stuff together. I'm not going to say that they're great by any stretch of the imagination, but they were able to get the win last weekend and get their first of the season with Geno playing relatively good football. So the Panthers are going to be the inferior team on that one. Then they come back home for Minnesota, who's a good team, but somehow they've started the year 0-2. And then they have the Lions and the Dolphins, both on the road, before they come to the Week 7 bye week. That is a brutal stretch of football. I'm sorry, but I expect the Panthers to be 0-6. By the time they get to the bye week. I just can't see them beating the Seahawks, Vikings, Lions, or Dolphins. That first win of the year could come after the bye week, Texans, Colts, Bears, and we'll get into Texans, Colts, and the Bears, those 3 teams with their young quarterbacks, 2 rookies, 1 third year. We'll see what happens there. So it's a tough situation. And if you're the Panthers, you're no longer looking to see if, hey, maybe we can make the playoffs this year. You just look at the division. Nobody expected this. Falcons, Saints, Bucks, all 2-0 to start the year. Panthers, the lone team to start 0-2. The lone team with a loss in the NFC South. I thought everybody, analysts, professionals thought that the NFC South was going to be a completely 500 division. Like everybody would be hovering around 7-10, 8-9, somewhere around there. 9-8, maybe 10-7 if they're lucky. But that Saints team looks good. The Falcons look good. And the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield played some pretty good football. And so if you're the Panthers, it might be time to look at this year and say, okay, we're not going to do anything with it. We're going to leave Bryce Young in for the whole year and just let him learn. It's a lost year at this point. They're not going to come back from this 0-2 start. It's just not going to happen. Is it possible? Yes. I will never say it is impossible until it's mathematically impossible, because we have seen crazier things happen. But it is highly, highly, highly unlikely that the Panthers go on a run, given that they have one of the tougher schedules in the league this year. And even after that stretch, they have the Cowboys, the Titans, Green Bay, Jacksonville, not to mention all the division games that they're going to be playing. These are playoff teams, playoff caliber teams. And the Panthers, they have not shown that they are even remotely competent enough to fight for the playoffs. The offense looks absolutely horrendous. Bryce Young, he doesn't look great out there. I'm not going to lie to you. He looks pretty bad. Some of the throws that he makes, I'm like, what are you doing, buddy? Like, where are you looking at? But he's young. He's a rookie. Give him some time. Let's relax, all that fun stuff. Let's give it the whole year. Like I said, I want to see improvement. I'll give improvement. I'll say Bryce Young looked a lot better than week 1. Maybe not a lot better, but he looked better than he did in week 1 here in week 2. They scored a little more, so, that's a positive. I'm trying to find the positives here. We just lost Shaq Thompson for the year. We got to find the positives. So looking forward for the Panthers. Like I said, next week, they're going to Seattle. That game will be at 4:05. It'll also be right here on WSIC, as always. We're going to head to break here, though. Getting close to, time to wait for the next segment. We're going to talk about the NFL. We're going to talk college football. We are going to get through all of that in the final segment of the show. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Scoreboard here on WSIC, 105.9, 100.7 FM. 704-873-1400 is the phone number. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We will be back right after this.
Thought-provoking conversations and informed perspectives.
It's meant for everyday people to understand, and you don't have to stress about technical terms and stuff. They just say it like a real person.
WSIC News Talk Now.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Stuart Owen Dance, the resident dance company of Asheville's Wortham Center for the Performing Arts, is performing at Kane Center for the Arts in Cornelius this Saturday. Want to learn more about Stuart Owen Dance before the event? Listen and watch Justin Dione, Executive Director of Kane Center for the Arts, during his show, Know the Scene, on Tuesday or on demand anytime. Just visit WSICnews.com and click on radio shows to find Know the Scene. Stuart Owen Dance, this Saturday, kanearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. The sesquicentennial celebration for the town of Huntersville is here this Saturday from 2 until 8 p.m. at Huntersville Athletic Park. Come celebrate Huntersville's 150th birthday. Saturday, September 23rd, For more info, visit huntersville.org. The All-American Dog Show is back in Cornelius, Sunday, October 1st, 2 until 5 p.m. Your furry friends are also welcome to attend. You can even enter them into the contests. Be sure to come by the WSIC tent at the All-American Dog Show happening at Robbins Park in Cornelius, Sunday, October 1st. For more info, visit cornelius.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back! Saturdays and Sundays, September 30th through November 19th. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
And now a look at your weather update from the WSIC Weather Center. As you head into the evening, it's going to be a mostly clear night, an overnight low heading down to 57. And looking into Wednesday morning, mostly sunny skies through the day, afternoon high reaching 80 degrees. This is your weather update from the WSIC Weather Center.
Still the one. 76 years strong, and we're still the one. WSIC News, Talk, Now.
Hi folks, Pat Shannon inviting you to join me for the Home Ad Show. We help you sell things, buy things, celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, and have a lot of fun in the process. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11, here on News Talk WSIC.
Be a part of the conversation.
We can't fix America's debt by starving its people.
Have your say.
One shooting after another, and we're doing nothing to solve it?
This is WSIC News, Talk, Now.
All right, final segment here today on the Scoreboard. Man, this show goes faster and faster every single time, I swear. We are not even close to covering everything that happened over the weekend. Still have Charlotte FC, high school football, the rest of the NFL to talk about. And we're going to start out with the most important thing. Well, maybe not the most important thing, but pretty important nonetheless. For the first time in a while, I can tell you we will not go another full week without hockey until, the week break that they take in the season. Because the Carolina Hurricanes have a preseason game next week. That's right, 1 week from today, hockey is officially back. Preseason action for the Hurricanes. Can you feel the excitement in the air? And I mean, the Hurricanes have been good recently. Hopefully they're able to continue their strong showings of late. They have a good team. They have some young core pieces locked up. I expect a good year from the Hurricanes. But we will make sure we continue to talk about the NHL throughout the year because it is probably the most entertaining of all the major American sports. Well, if you can even call it American, I guess it's a Canadian sport. But nonetheless, there's a lot of American teams. So anyway, we will cover the Carolina Hurricanes on this show. And hopefully maybe a trip back to the Stanley Cup Finals. They've lost something like 12 straight conference final games. Hopefully, if they get there this year again, they can figure it out and win one. It would be nice. But we still got a while to go before that. I mean, I think the playoffs have officially been slated to start something like April 23rd. So we still have some time before we can worry about the drama that is the NHL playoffs. But I just want to at least keep everyone updated, make sure you know, Carolina Hurricanes hockey is back next week. Preseason season action. Let's go. I'm excited. But let's talk about what I wanted to talk about, and that is the NFL. Earlier today, there were 173 modern era nominees announced for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2024. 9 players in their first year of eligibility. Those making their first considerations include, let's see, where's this list? Brandon Marshall, Jordy Nelson. Let's try that one again. Jordy Nelson, longtime Packer. Antonio Gates, Jamal Charles, TJ Lang, Josh Sitton, Max Unger, and Haloti Nada, and Julius Peppers, who should be a Hall of Famer. So Julius Peppers makes his first appearance on the Hall of Fame ballot. Still got a while to go before we worry about who's going to make it. But it was announced today who the new nominees are. It's a big list of players. I am not going through 173 players that are nominated for the Hall of Fame. If you're curious, go to the NFL website. They have the list of every player. They sorted it by position. They let you know who's on the ballot for the first time. They let you know who almost made it last time. It's very well done. So if you want to see the complete list, check it out. Only 2 weeks into the NFL season here, and the standings are incredibly surprising. You have the Miami Dolphins leading the AFC East, which isn't too crazy as the Jets and Bills have a win and loss each. You have the Ravens on top of the AFC North, my pick for your Super Bowl champion this year, and the Bengals sitting at 0-2 with more problems than just the fact that they are 0-2. 3-way tie in the AFC South at 1-1 before you have Houston at 0-2. The AFC West still wide open, nobody pulling away there. Who would have thought that the NFC East would be one of the best divisions in football with their cumulative record through 2 weeks being 7-1? Only better, or the only team that's close, the only division that's close is the NFC South, 6-2. Both of those losses in the NFC South, as we've noted, coming from your Carolina Panthers. And there's a lot of headlines with this results that we've been getting in the NFL so far. The Dolphins look like a dominant team. The Ravens look great. The Bengals have a problem at quarterback, and that is the fact that Joe Burrow re-aggravated his calf injury. Do they keep him off the football field? Do they say, go out there and win us some games? I remember Jamar Chase during the preseason when Burrow wasn't playing, saying that he would rather Burrow sit out the first couple of weeks of the season rather than play and get re-injured early in the year. Well, I guess he wasn't healed enough to come back right away because he re-aggravated the same calf just from jogging. And I mean, when you look at the video of when he comes up limping, it looks like he hurt the calf like as he was slowing down, not even trying to run away from somebody. He had already thrown the ball and, doing kind of like a half jog type thing, slowing down. And then all of a sudden he starts limping. And it's a really weird injury when you look at it. We'll see what happens with Burrow. No word on whether or not they're going to sit him or not. I mean, you would think that he's going to have to tough this out. Because starting 0-2 in the AFC this year, whoo boy, it is going to be tough to come back from that. And not only are the Bengals 0-2, but probably the more surprising 0-2 team is the LA Chargers, who always seem to have a great team, but they just can't figure it out. I mean, they lose by 3 to the Titans. The week before that, they lose a shootout with the Dolphins by 2. They've lost their first 2 games by 5 points. And they've looked like a really good team. But they're 0-2 in the AFC, and the AFC is going to be brutal this year. There's going to be I'm going to say there's going to be more than one 10-win team that does not make the playoffs in the NFC this year, or in the AFC this year. Maybe not the NFC, because I think the overall records are going to be a little bit lower, minus the standouts that are going to be the Eagles, the 49ers, and quite possibly the Cowboys. I'm still not sure whether or not we're going to consider the Cowboys real contenders or not this year, because they haven't played a real opponent yet. Let's be honest. They blew out the Giants, who are, I guess, turning into one of the worst teams in the league, who we now have to sit through and watch play football on Thursday night. Yet another terrible Thursday night matchup. NFL, please get rid of it. But they haven't played anybody. The Cowboys just kind of have been dominating. So we'll see when they play some real opponents if they can live up to the hype. We know that the 49ers will. We know that the Eagles will. We need new contenders in the NFC. Also going around in the league right now, you have the Colts and their injury situation with Anthony Richardson. Tough deal. He was having an okay game, gets hit, comes off the field with a concussion. This was the fear with Anthony Richardson. We knew he had the athleticism. The fear was, will he be able to slide, get down, and not take these hits? And would he be able to hit his targets downfield? Now, the passing is yet to be seen, but we've seen he's not able to get down and slide to avoid these big hits, to the point where he hurt himself in week 1, and now he's hurt again, this time with a concussion. The Colts better start. I've been a big advocate of NFL teams needing to hire baseball players or baseball coaches to teach quarterbacks how to properly slide, because it's so easy to do, but they don't do it. Why not? I don't know. That's pretty much all the time we have for today. I'm sorry we couldn't get to everything. I know there was so much going on in the world of sports this weekend. We're going to cover more weekend stuff tomorrow, and then on Thursday we will preview the Thursday night game. You know, it's a short week here with not having the show on Monday. We got to get a lot of information in really fast. So tomorrow we'll talk a little Charlotte FC. We'll talk a little high school football. And then we'll talk also about what's going on in the world of sports, as we always do. But thank you for tuning in today to the Scoreboard on WSIC. Everybody have a good one, and I'll see you tomorrow.